B4BConnect.com introduces you to Dan Minkus, an attorney with Clark Hill PLC in Birmingham, Michigan. Dan, can you talk a little bit about your experience and your areas of expertise?
I am a partner in charge of our Birmingham office, and I'm a member of our business practice group. Mergers and acquisitions is an area of my specialty. I also am well-versed in minority business enterprises and limited liability companies. I work with companies to help them to strategically plan their business path.
You recently published an article on B4B Connect that focused on creative strategies for exiting a business. Can you go into some detail about your ideas on the subject?
Well, again, I think that every business has a life cycle, and everyone's participation in a business has a life cycle. And so just as you start up a business and you run a business, you also at some point want to part from that business or find a way to depart or some succession planning. And there are a variety of ways in which you can leave your business or exit from that business.
What are the benefits of utilizing a more creative exit strategy, like the ones you mentioned in your article, versus strictly selling a business? And what are the disadvantages to some of the creative strategies?
Well, again, the creative strategies increase the options. They increase the opportunities that you can have. And if you have more choices, then you presumably will be able to select the one that's right for you. So the advantages are that you're going to have more opportunities and more different choices to choose from. As far as disadvantages, because they are creative, they're not as well known to the public, and you may have a tough time convincing people why they should pursue one of the creative alternatives.
For exit strategies like dividend recap, for example, what legal strategies should business owners take into consideration to ensure the strategy is followed through completely?
Well, in a dividend recap, as an example, what you're really doing is it's the equivalent of going out and remortgaging your house. You're taking the equity out of the business or a portion of the equity out of the business and borrowing so that you can pay yourself that money. So as a legal strategy, you actually have to make sure you have a sound balance sheet. You have to realize you're going to have a relationship with a lender now, and that lender's going to put covenants on your business and requirements on your business. So as a legal strategy, it's to be well prepared and have a squeaky clean, if you can, business going in.
Crowdfunding has become a business buzzword of late. What will it take for this practice to become a viable mainstream option? And what pitfalls should business owners consider with this new option?
Well, the pitfalls is that if you have a whole bunch of little investors that are choosing to be part of your company, in theory they may all think that they have specific rights, and they may have certain rights. So the pitfall is I think you're going to have more people that you're having to deal with. Whether or not crowdfunding will take off or not, tough to say. Again, 30 years ago, people weren't in the market, and then 401ks came about, and people started investing, and now you have a lot of individuals and day traders and small accounts. Well, crowdfunding is the same kind of concept, and that is that if you have a business, you don't necessarily have to find someone who has a lot of money to fund you. You can find a bunch of small people who will help to fund you.
And people put a lot of time and effort into accomplishing their dream of running a business. In your opinion, what is actually the dream? To run a business or to build a business successful enough to sell it?
I think it's the latter. Owning a business, running a business is hard work. It's hard work, and with responsibilities and pressure. So the rights of owning your business also come along with the responsibilities of owning your business. It's as though if you said to me, is having a child or raising a child better? Well, it's not that hard to have the child. It's what you do with the child once you have it. So to me, it is building your business, seeing it grow, seeing it become successful, and hopefully selling it and rewarding yourself for that.
Regardless of which exit strategy is chosen, how important is timing in regards to an exit strategy? For example, selling at the right time when a business is on a high note versus holding on for a few years and seeing value depreciate. What are the drawbacks of selling too soon or too late?
Well, it's the same question as when do you get in and out of stocks in the stock market? Timing is important. If you try to time it, you may find yourself successful or unsuccessful. There are many business owners who wanted to sell their businesses before 2008, 2009, but things were going well, so they hung on to them. Then the downturn in the economy, and they weren't able to get the prices that they wanted to after the downturn. Things are now coming back, and so now you have a lot of sellers who are willing to sell again, although they want fair prices for it. There are a lot of businesses now that think that if they made it through the Great Recession, that they're stronger than ever and that they deserve a higher premium for having gone through that. So timing is important, but I think it's more important to put yourself in a game plan and say, I would like to exit at this time or by this time, and give yourself a time frame so that you can properly plan for it.
Are certain exit strategies best suited for specific business types or industries?
Not necessarily, except that there probably are certain businesses and industries that are more susceptible or more likely to use a particular exit strategy. For example, family businesses, obviously a succession plan, so passing it on to your children, training your children in the business. You might see automobile dealerships, for example, have traditionally been significant on passing on businesses to family members. So that's an exit strategy that is probably more prevalent in that industry than in others. But generally speaking, the preferred is to find a cash sale and to sell out, and maybe some earn out or maybe some opportunity or some consulting agreements to get to continue to stay involved. Entrepreneurs are an interesting breed, and it's difficult sometimes for entrepreneurs to let go of their businesses, but that's another factor that should be considered in how to part from your company.
Well, that concludes this B4BConnect.com interview. Dan, thank you very much for your time, and we appreciate you sharing your expertise with our followers.
My pleasure.